G'day guys and welcome to this Premier League edition of Beyond the 90. I am your host, Alex Ellerman. Apologies for not uploading a video last week. There was a bit of technical issues within the studio. However, we are back this week and I'm going to give you a wrap up of the table after match day 7 of the English Premier League, considering we are coming up to the international break. So we'll start off from the bottom. We've got QPR sitting on the bottom of the table with 4 points. Now QPR are just coming off a loss in their last game. Harry Redknapp's men haven't seemed to get it together. They just a little bit shaky in the back line. The midfield is just giving up too much possession. And the front men, however, are seeming to be finding the back of the net. So Harry will be looking at his squad over the international break and looking to see whether he can find someone to really strengthen that backline. I think Rio Ferdinand is one player in that backline that really needs to take a leadership role and really start controlling the back, as they just seem to get caught ball watching, and which always usually results in them copying an unfortunate goal and usually costing them the match. They have also been on the back end of a few belting 4-0 losses. So Harry Redknapp will be looking to get the pieces of the puzzle sorted in that international break and get QPR out of the drop zone. Sitting at 19th, we have the newcomers Burnley. In their previous match, they come off a draw. Burnley sitting on 4 points. You expect Burnley, they've always come in. Last time they were in the Premier League, they had the reputation of giant slayers. I think this match, however, and this campaign, however, they are just struggling to really get the sort of quality football that we saw from them last time they were in the English Premier League. They're very impressive in the Championship, however, which is a bit worrying when they can't mirror that form coming into the league. I think for them, it's all about getting the all-important first win on the board. They just want to make sure, get the first 3 points on the board and start their season off strong. They've got some very quality players. They always seem to never say die, Burnley. They're just always that team that will play the full 90 minutes out, and it's just been unfortunate that they've been on the back end of some very unlucky results. So I'd expect Burnley to get their first win on the board and get their season starting strong, and their manager will be looking to really sort of fix the bits and pieces in their squad just to strengthen them a little bit and just hold off some of the teams that they've been playing against. For Burnley, it's more about getting the victories on the mid-table teams rather than beating the top 4 teams. Sitting in 18th position, we have Newcastle United on 4 points. And their last match, they are also coming off a draw. Alan Pardew is under fire in this squad, and you can really understand the Geordies in the Toon aren't too happy with the way their squad is going, and Pardew is under a lot of pressure from the fans to perform, and already you can see around St James's Park there is chants and signs of Pardew out, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's the first manager of this season, of this playing season, to get the axe. Newcastle want to make sure they are out of their drop zone very quickly. This is the worst run of form we've seen them in a very long time. Actually, they actually started better in their relegation season than they have this season. So they want to make sure they turn it around. They have got the quality, they've got the players, they've got the backing. They just can't seem to get the points on the board and finish off side. So Alan Pardew has got a very big 2 weeks break before the match day 8 to really get his side back on form and fix whatever is going wrong within his side. So he wants to make sure he can get them back in some winning form. Otherwise, he might be shown the door. Sitting in 17th is a very surprising one, where it's Everton on 6 points and they're coming off a loss. Now, you've got to feel for Roberto Martinez's men. They spent a lot of money in the pre-season bringing Lukaku and Eto'o, the Chelsea duo, into the side. They play fantastic football. It's just, they just seem to be on the wrong end of results again. It's just one of those sides that just can't seem to get the W's on the board. It's not really a result of the way they're playing. It's just the teams that are coming up against them are just in a lot better form. I expect them to really turn it around coming match day 8. The pressure is on Roberto Martinez, as always, with any manager with the sort of money being spent in their preseason. They expect the wins on the board and they have a lot of quality in their side. So I do expect them to really turn their season around. All they need is a few points on the board to really get out of that drop zone area, but I expect them to do it quite comfortably come match day 8. Sitting in 16th, we have Stoke City on 8 points. Now, Stoke are coming off a loss. Mark Hughes has got them playing a very impressive brand of football. They are very up and down with their form, however. Very solid in defence, just can't seem to get it working up front, and that is where Mark Hughes really needs to start getting his strikers. You've got Bojan Peter Crouch and a lot of other quality strikers in the side that can easily find the back of the net. So they will need to really improve their form come match day 8 just to keep themselves with a little bit of breathing space from that drop zone. But I also expect Stoke to do it quite comfortably just based on their defensive form. Sitting in 15th, we have Crystal Palace, who are also coming off a loss. Neil Warnock has really turned this side around. It was a bit of a shame to see Tony Pulis leave so early in the piece before actually match day 1, which was a bit of a shock, 48 hours before the first kick of the season for Crystal Palace. However, Neil Warnock, since his return, seems to have been able to turn this squad around. They've got a lot of quality in the squad. Their strikers are on form. I just think they just need to get a little bit more solid in their back line to give Speroni a little bit of protection. And Palace, again, are one of those mid-table sides that should be able to get a lot of breathing space between themselves and the drop zone come the Christmas period. In 14th, we have West Bromwich Albion sitting on 8 points as well. They are coming off a loss. Now, West Brom are playing very impressive. The way they played against Liverpool in their previous game was utterly fantastic and very lucky to not walk away with at least a point in that game. You've got to take your hat off to West Brom. They always seem to be one of those sides that always takes it to the big sides. They always come out on the park ready to play and just never say die. They're always a battling side, and I expect them to keep battling on in this league. And considering they are only on 8 points, a few more wins and they can see them comfortably into the top 10 of the table. So Alan Irvine over the international break. We're just looking on strengthening a few weaknesses. However, coming off that Liverpool game, there is not much West Brom need to do to really improve. They just need to make sure that they can hold off the bigger sides come the 90 minutes. Sitting in 13th spot, we have Sunderland. Gus Poyet's men are coming off a win and they are also on 8 points. Now, Sunderland, they're mirroring the form that kept them up last year. Again, a very hilly start. However, they'll be happy that they are quite clear out of the drop zone at the moment. And I expect them to keep this form going. They're playing a really fantastic football. Jack Rodwell seems to be one of their key signings for the boys. The Sunderland boys should be able to get quite a comfortable bit of breathing space between themselves and the teams below them, keeping them out of the danger area. And I expect Gus Poyet over the international break just to really focus on getting his strikers on form and making sure they can finish off some key battles against some of the defences that they come up against. Not to say that they're not finding the back of the net. I do feel, however, there's a few games in the first 7 matches that they have drawn and lost that they could have easily won if their strikers had found the back of the net. So there's a lot of work to do for Gus Poyet's men up front, but I'm sure he'll be focusing on that during the international break. Sitting on 12, in 12th position, we have Leicester City on 9 points, and they're coming off a draw. Now, the new boys, Leicester, are playing fantastic. You've got to love when a side comes up and they really show their quality, and Leicester City have done that this year. Their most impressive win would be that 5-3 victory over Man United at home. a come from behind victory and just really representation of what you want newly promoted sides to do to really take it to some of the big teams in this league. So good on Leicester. I expect them to really just keep mirroring the form that they have in the start of this season. They'll want to get a few more wins on the board, however, just to give themselves a bit of space between themselves and the teams below them. However, there isn't much I would change in this side come the international break. So good on Leicester for the way they've started, and I hope that they keep their impressive form going. Sitting in 11th spot on 9 points as well, we have Steve Bruce's Hull City. Now, Hull have started the season very impressively. Steve Bruce is going to be very impressed with the way his boys are playing. They are playing very well in the league. However, the worry for them is how are they going to cope with squad depth now that the Europa League has started, and they've really got to take it into the European competition as well. I do feel, however, this is going to mirror on their league form come the latter half of the Premier League. So he'll want to make sure he gets a perfect balance between his league side and his European side. So that's something for Steve Bruce to work on during the international break. His side, however, in the league are sitting quite comfortably at the moment in that 11th spot. They want to make sure they just get a few more wins on the board as well, just to make sure that they can sit comfortably in that top 10.